Welcome back. I'm glad you're back with me. Remember, we are reading along with Mrs. Marion to Dream It, Believe It, Manatee Patty by Jenny Rose. And this is video number 4 that we are doing. And in video number 4, we are reading chapters 7 and 8. So let's take a peek and see if Sparky's still listening, see if he's still enjoying the book. I bet he is. It's a pretty interesting book, don't you think? But let's take a peek at Sparky down here. He's still down here just lazing around. Maybe he's having the dog days of summer. I hope you're enjoying your summer too. Let's take a listen. Chapter 7. It's Saturday, the day of Manatee Elementary Science Club field trip. Mr. Timberlake arrives early at the park. Manatee Aquarium, gazes at the aquarium where Snooty lived for so many years, and reminisces about his internship at the aquarium. His connection with the wildlife staff, and his first teaching opportunities changed the course of his life and career direction. Every time children arrived at the aquarium, he observed their adoration for Snooty, concern for their injured manatees, and desire to help. Teaching them became his passion, and fostering generations of caring environmentalists a byproduct. The memories of this place make him smile. As Manatee Patty enters the Parker Manatee Aquarium with her mom and dad, she races to the tank where the injured manatees are recovering. She knows that sometimes in the future, she'll discover the most recently rehabilitated manatees will be strong enough to be released back into their natural habitat. She'll miss them, but she knows that that's what all wildlife deserves. She's assured new manatees needing treatment will soon arrive after the previous ones are released. Her eyes begin to water as she thinks about Snooty. After all the students and parents are at the tank, Mr. Timberlake said, "Welcome to our tour, boys and girls and chaperones. You know, old Snooty and I were friends for years, just like many of you were. Having the oldest manatee in captivity as a resident in Bradenton for so many years was such a blessing. I was an intern at this aquarium during college. I monitored and collected information on Snooty's behavior, tested his water, prepared his food, and gave presentations to visitors just like you. In fact, I enjoyed teaching kids at this aquarium so much about protecting endangered species and conserving our environment that I decided to become a teacher." Manatee Patty responded, "You're the best teacher I've ever had." "I never had a teacher like you in Tampa," Bobby added. Dr. Mann said, "Thank you for all that you do for our students. They are very fortunate indeed." "That's kind of you. Now, let's talk about Snooty for a moment." "Oh," Manatee Patty chimed in, "Snooty and I were friends too. My parents have been bringing me here since I was in a stroller. Did you know that on July 21st, 1948, Snooty was the first recorded birth of a manatee in captivity? In 1949, Snooty was brought to Bradenton as a baby. And in 2015, our Snooty was officially certified as the world's oldest known manatee by Guinness Book of World Records." Angel glares at Manatee Patty and rolls her eyes. Mr. Timberlake responded, "You are correct, Manatee Patty. Does anyone else have some manatee facts?" Bobby answered, "Manatees eat around 100 pounds of food each day. Also, manatees cannot move their neck from side to side. In order to see behind them, they must turn their entire body." "Those are interesting facts to share, Bobby," replied Mr. Timberlake. "Now, who can tell me the average size of a West Indian manatee?" Mr. Timberlake asked. With both hands waving, Manatee Patty blurts out, 10 feet long and about 800 to 1,200 pounds. "You are correct again, Manatee Patty," Mr. Timberlake said. Mr. Timberlake then asked, "Boys and girls, are you aware that some of the aquarium staff act as first responders when calls come in about sick or injured manatees? The staff determines whether they need help. When the manatees are rehabilitated, they can be tagged before they are returned to the wild and then can be monitored. I'd like to ask Dr. Mann to tell us about the tracking devices used to monitor our manatees after they leave here. Dr. Mann said, I'll be glad to share the information with the students. A special transmitter is placed in a waterproof container attached by a tether or cord to the manatee's tail. And don't worry, it doesn't hurt them. The transmitter is connected to the Argos satellite tracking system, so their whereabouts can be monitored by the Sea to Shore Alliance, a partner in the Manatee Rescue and Rehabilitation Partnership, otherwise known as MRP. After you adopt a manatee and it's been rehabilitated and released back into its natural habitat, you might be able to determine your manatee's location. Mr. Timberlake said, once when I was working here, our aquarium took care of an orphan manatee who was too young to know how to take care of himself during the winter months. Manatee Patty speculated. Maybe his mom wasn't around long enough to show him how to swim in warmer water. You know, it must be 68 degrees or warmer for them to survive for very long. You're exactly right. When the orphan manatee was rescued, this little guy had cold stress. He would have died if he hadn't been rescued. Luckily, someone spotted him and called the 24-hour wildlife alert hotline. He was rescued, treated at a critical care facility, rehabilitated at our aquarium, and released near the Tampa Electric's Manatee Viewing Center. Why do you think they took him there during the winter? Other manatees are there during the winter to stay warm. Maybe they taught him the best places to go for warmth and food. Good answer, Manatee Patty. Bobby added, maybe he made a new friend there, just like I have made new friends in Bradenton. But, by the way, how old do you need to be to volunteer at the aquarium, Mr. Timberlake? You must be 15 to apply to be a teen volunteer. What do you get to do? Angel asked. Well, Angel, replied Mr. Timberlake, you might help prepare the food for the manatees, present the animals in the touch tank, or give informational presentations. Angel replied with a combination of frustration coupled with sadness in her tone of voice. If my mom's not working 2 jobs when I'm 15, maybe she can take me to the aquarium so I can volunteer. I'd really like to. Manatee Patty added, you can count Bobby and me in. I can't wait. And Angel, if for some reason your mom can't drive you, I'm sure my mom and dad will find a way to get you there too. Angel's eyes were as wide as saucers. She couldn't imagine how someone could be so polite to her after the hateful things that she has said to Manatee Patty for so many years. Okay, club members, let's get ready to see the next exhibits. While everyone else is beginning to follow Mr. Timberlake, Manatee Patty reaches for her small dream catcher near the opening of her backpack. She rubs the feathers between her fingers and dreams briefly about her manatees. Look at this picture. This manatees at the Blue Spring Boil. And here's another picture of manatee at play at Blue Spring. Chapter 8. Miss Braley Patricia Mann was a lot like Manatee Patty when she was young. She was inquisitive, bright, creative, compassionate, caring, and loved learning about natural habitats and wildlife. Braley dreamed of traveling to faraway places and doing what she could to protect wildlife and conserve what was rightfully theirs. Although Braley also liked manatees, she was a little less obsessed with them as her namesake. Aunt Braley's interest in photography began when she was 8 years old after opening a birthday present from her older brother, Chris. He encouraged her to enroll in a photography class for kids at their local library. And from that time forward, she began snapping photos and honing her craft. She joined a local photography club and enrolled in journalism classes in high school. The idea of becoming a photojournalist meshed her love of photography with her commitment to environmental issues. As Aunt Braley darts up the sidewalk in tandem with her dark ponytail, the aroma of salmon fresh off the grill guides her to the front door. Her favorite niece unlocks the door and flings her arms around her neck before she has time to ring the doorbell. Oh, Aunt Braley, I've missed you so much. I've missed you too, honey. Chris heads towards the front door and then said, We are so glad you came to visit us, sis. It seems like you've been away much too long this time. Maggie joined the others in the living room and said, Hi, Braley. How's my favorite sister-in-law? Come inside and sit down. Chris, can get the rest of her luggage. After giving his sister a big hug, Chris said, "Sure, I'd be happy to," and Braley expressed, "It feels so good to be back with family again." Manatee Patty then asked, "Will you tell us about Africa? What was your favorite place to visit? Show us your latest pictures. I loved getting your emails, pictures, and letters. I put them all in a scrapbook and dreamed of being there with you a lot." "She really does, Braley," Maggie explained. "Her daydreams and dreams at night are magical. Your excitement warms my heart. I can't wait to hear more about those dreams. I'll be here for several days, and I'll be able to share a lot with you. Also, I brought you a surprise. It's in the large suitcase your dad is carrying. I'll give it to you later." "I can't wait to see what it is. Will you give me a hint?" "Oh, Manatee Patty," Dad said, "will you please let my sister catch her breath?" "It's okay, Chris. I have a picture to give her right now. Perhaps that will suffice until she opens her gift later. I know how much you love manatees, but I brought you a picture of my favorite animal, an elephant." "I love it, Aunt Braley. I think I know why you chose the elephant for me. It's because manatees evolved from the same land animals as elephants over 50 million years ago." "I'm impressed by your knowledge of manatees and other species as well. I've had information about manatees stored so long in my brain, I've decided it's about time to branch out and learn a lot more about the wildlife of Africa and other places in the world. And with you for an aunt, well, you're like a walking encyclopedia about so many different species. I guess that's what happens when you work as a photojournalist for World Wildlife for Kids." Aunt Braley added, "You flatter me, but you must know that your knowledge of manatees surpasses mine." Chris joins in on the conversation after taking Braley's luggage to the guest room. "What was your favorite experience on this last trip to Africa, sis?" "The hot air balloon ride in the Serengeti was probably my favorite. I enjoyed photographing the biannual migration of herds of wildebeest and zebras, followed by their predators, the lion, cheetah, and hyena. There were only 2 other photojournalists, a guide, and me. The view from the air was breathtaking, and the experience life-changing. My goal is always to make sure my photographs capture images that tell the stories I want to share. We all have responsibilities to do our part in supporting conservation and the survival of animals." "Aunt Braley," Manatee Patty interrupted to ask, "doesn't it make you mad to hear about the needless killing of animals in Africa? If only I were older, I'd go to Africa with you. If I saw a possible abandoned orphan lion cub, I'd report it to the authorities. If I saw poachers killing elephants to sell their ivory or rhinos for their horns, I'd report them too. We must live in a world where animal welfare matters and animal cruelty ends. It's obvious the Mann family wants to make positive changes in our world. We need to do our part to make sure wildlife and wilderness are available for future generations." Maggie added, "I know we are headed in the right direction. I feel so fortunate to be a part of the Mann family. You 3 inspire me." "You inspire us, Maggie," Braley said. "Speaking of inspiration, let's have lunch, sis." Maggie Mann then revealed, "On the Mann menu today, we are featuring your favorites, Braley. How do grilled salmon, steamed broccoli, and Caesar salad sound?" "It sounds fabulous," Mom added, "and after lunch, perhaps we should let your Aunt Braley rest a little while." "I'll rest too, and dream about my future career alongside Aunt Braley in Africa." "That sounds great, Manatee Patty. Perhaps I should borrow your dream catcher sometime and see if it will work for me. Maybe I'll dream about each of you when I'm homesick and so far away from home." "But your real home is in Montana," Mom interjects. "Remember what I told you, my Manatee Patty. You are home when you're with your family, wherever that might be." Following a meal brimming with long-awaited conversation, the Mann family carves out some quiet time to relax. Manatee Patty retreats to her bedroom and begins wondering about the gift her Aunt Braley brought her. What in the world could it be? A plane ticket to Africa? A voucher for an all-expense-paid African safari? Hopefully she'll get to open the mysterious gift after everyone awakens. After she stretches out on her bed, Manatee Patty grabs her dream catcher, admires the crystal beads on the feathers, dozes off, and dreams about the pictures that Aunt Braley sent her a few months earlier. there's a dream catcher. Isn't that beautiful? And this, look at this lizard here. Isn't that beautiful? Wow, look at the beautiful, vibrant colors on it. Here's an elephant, a female elephant, and a juvenile elephant right there. Ooh, and look, hyena and cubs. Very good. That's all for this video. So I hope that you'll come back and join me to read chapters 9 and 10. Bye, friends.